I've had the fortune to see this, and also Kink and Interior Leather Bar recently, and Broken Tower, which I thought was fantastic. And I notice a pattern with you that it's kind of in a way almost pure anarchism. Like you are really kind of seem to be fascinated with the outcasts, people on the fringes of what we call maybe respectable society. And I was wondering why you think it's important, or what value you have to make these stories now, especially in a time where our society seems to be moving towards this very corporatized, homogenized, kind of standardized madness.
Yeah, good question. Well, I make all kinds of movies, and I act and direct in all kinds of projects. You quoted 3 that are on, or 4 that are kind of on the more extreme side of the kinds of things I do. But
yeah, but you also do Disney, which is great because it makes you like a conduit, into also mainstream.
Yeah, exactly. So I think what you just said is one of the keys to maybe. What I'm trying to do, mainly because I've found it's my voice. You know what I mean? So when when one goes to a MFA program of any kind, art, writing, directing, whatever, one of the things that you're taught is to look for your voice, or try to find your artistic voice or your place. What can you do that others can't do? And so one of the things I found is that I'm in an unusual position. I'm in this very commercial film world. I'm in the pop culture world as a performer, but I also have these interests that maybe don't that are kind of tangents to that world, but don't really lie in that world. And so maybe my place, or my thing, or at least where I've found a lot of, where I can generate a lot of energy, is to bring those 2 worlds together. And so maybe some of the things I'm doing, I've been done before. It's just that, like, I'm sure there's been necrophilia movies before, but maybe they've been kind of relegated to some weird, just relegated to kind of more fringe outlets. And so maybe it's my place to bring some of these ideas into kind of more of a mainstream outlet. And why is it important? Well, it's important for what you said in the beginning, that making things, homogenized is it's dangerous. We always need to question. It's not, I'm not about anarchy, and I appreciate structure, but we always need to question who we are and why we are, and how we view ourselves, and how we interact with each other. Those are always things that need to be constantly questioned, and I think that's one of the things that I try to do.
Thank you.
Next question. Yes, you. The mic is coming for you.
Thank you. Hi, James. I'm not sure that all viewers, when they look at a film, consider what life lessons might be being delivered. But I know that some of my readers do look for life lessons in films. I also know that an artist doesn't necessarily feel obliged to deliver or to focus on what life lessons might be being delivered. But I wonder whether you've considered this, and if so, what life lessons are you delivering in this film?
I mean, yeah, you're right. I don't, you know, when you make a piece of art or a film, it's not always, you know, kind of a moral enterprise. You know, films rest in a weird place, but, you know, where they're kind of, for a long time, they've been mass entertainment and haven't had to, you know, kind of be burden, you know, they don't have to carry the role of, you know, educational tools or moralistic tools, at least as their primary function. But, and so when I make one, and one like this, you know, primarily I'm looking to do a portrait, examine, you know, sides of, you know, what it is to be human through an extreme subject. But as far as, you know, if I go back and look at it and say, well, what are the lessons? I guess I wouldn't say, you know, look at this film if you want to see how, you know, this isn't a film that will guide you to be a better person. It's not that kind of movie. But what it also isn't saying, you know, things should be this way or things should be that way. But I think what I think is that it does is that it is maybe very relevant. Is it shows, okay, here's a person that can't function in civilized society. He's kicked off of the farm, goes to the cabin. He loses the cabin, he goes to the cave. So he's literally pushed further and further away from civilization. And you can, you know, I think that's a, you know, a relevant topic today. You know, the way that we socialize, at least, you know, you could say that the inner circles of mainstream communication are so bound up in technology, you know, that the way we socialize is so now intertwined with learning technological languages and social networking languages that there are, you know, many people that just, you know, give up, don't want to do that, don't engage with that. And so you could say that they are on the outer circles of this kind of communication. And it's only going to, you know, that kind of communication is only going to continue. And the point of the movie isn't to say, well, you don't, you know, if you don't tweet or do Facebook, you're going to become a killer or sleep with dead bodies. But it's an extreme portrait of, wow, somebody on the outside. And so I don't know if that's it's not a lesson per se, but it's a kind of lens to kind of look at a phenomenon that is happening, you know, in our day in its own new kind of forms, and will, you know, continue to happen. People will be pushed outside of the inner social circles.
We just have time for one more question. So many hands. Yes, you. Would you bring the mic to this?
Your academic work is clearly feeding your creative life. Could you say more about what your academic studies are doing for you, and whether you have any interest in bringing your creative life to scholarship and academic studies, and how that relates to everything you're doing and interested in?
Yeah, it's a nice question. I would say, I mean, because you asked, yes, like I was saying before, I do have my feet in different spheres, and so it's nice. It grants me a lot of freedom. And so when I'm doing my academic work, right now I'm preparing for my oral exams for my English PhD, and so just reading a lot of books that I'll be questioned about. But then I'll move on to if I pass, I'll move on to my dissertation. And I think it will, that will involve, American literature, that's my specialization, but also the way that these different mediums interact with each other. So yes, adaptation from literature to film, but also, the boundaries of the mediums. What does one medium do that better than the other? What can one do? How are we engaged with one compared to the other? What is, and thinking about them, forms being transformed into another one and back as kind of translation of media, rather than just thinking about adaptation, which is, I feel like kind of more limited view, but actually kind of looking at them as different kinds of languages. So that will, that's kind of my academic work, but I guess it's a way of saying, yes, I'm trying to bring all of my interests to my academic work. And yes, I think the films that I make are very informed by, also in turn informed by my academic work, because like I said, searching for my voice, I'd say, it wasn't planned this way, but I'd say one of the things about my voice when I direct is that, yes, I like to adapt great literature, and that's just, but also kind of try and make it feel current or contemporary in other ways, whether it's, the technology I use or the structure of the film